Hey guys, it's coreross and welcome to Busting Rainbow Six Siege. Today we're looking at myths that were supplied in the previous two episodes. So we actually have multiplayer and outbreak myths in this one episode. So enjoy. FINKA boost on mute jammer. So in the last episode we showed that FINKA cannot use her ability when she's over a mute jammer. It just gets grayed out and says that it's jammed. But what if your friendly's on a mute jammer, right? It should not work as well because the signal shouldn't be able to get to the nanoprobes. But as we can see, Capital does get the health boost from FINKA even though he's standing on the mute jammer, so that is confirmed. FINKA revive on mute jammer. So I thought we'd be thorough and just check to make sure it's not just the boost that works but also the revive. So Pyrites is right on top of that. And this would be kind of a cool counter actually if it didn't work, but it does. The mute jammer does not affect nanoprobes in that way, apparently. So that is confirmed. Sticking a VALK cam to Lion's drone. So this is something I thought about when I first heard about this guy and the fact he had a drone that flew above the map. Would be if you could get a Valkyrie cam on it, that would be amazing. But unfortunately you can't. You can't even get close to it. Now maybe there'll be a map where a defender can get high enough in the future to do it. But right now, you just cannot even get close. You couldn't see from that perspective, but you're like at least 10 feet short of the actual drone. So it's unfortunate. It would be an amazing VALK cam location. Dropping down hatches will not get you detected by Lion. The Lion is still a very controversial operator right now. And I'm very curious about what movements you can do where you don't get detected. This is one of the most interesting ones that I could find, and that was what happens if you drop down a hatch while the scan's on and you don't actually get detected, which is kind of useful. Like if someone's droned you out and they're coming for you, you can shoot out a hatch below you and drop away without being detected, which is kind of cool. It's not going to be that practical, but I still think it's kind of cool and it's confirmed. So I was quite surprised that worked, so I wondered what if you vaulted over something, would you also get detected? And you do get detected, unfortunately. So that is busted. Now there's always a myth in every single one of these episodes that surprises me, and this is the one. So if Zofia attempts to self-revive and then FINKA goes, wait, I'll do it for you. If you're trying to self-revive, it will not actually work. The self-revive from Zofia actually overrides the one from FINKA. So it's actually busted. And that was surprising to me. I didn't expect that. I thought FINKA would just get her up immediately. Now I got sent this one over Twitter and it is about the BOSG shotgun. So if you remember in a previous episode, we could actually shoot through castle barricades with this. And you can see the shotgun still makes good holes in the outer layers of the castles, but now it just makes this tiny little mark on the inner layer. So we're actually going to look at this. We'll do a melee attack instead for difference and just look at the tiny little dent these slugs now do to the castle barricades. If you compare that to the actual SMG here and see the size of the hole, it's amazing. And this is a little stealth change. There was nothing about this. So they've gone and taken away the ability to make little kill holes in the castle barricades with the BOSG shotgun. That is busted. Now this was a heavily requested myth, and it's what happens if you're interrogating someone and FINKA attempts to boost. And as you can see, it doesn't stop Cav from getting the information and killing that person. Of course, if you can boost them before Cav gets to them, that means that they can't be downed again. But Cav would have to kill them and would of course then not get the information on the rest of the team. So it is handy if you get it off just before she interrogates. Another heavily requested myth was the FINKA revive on frost traps. So of course the FINKA revive boost revives people, but it does not work on frost traps. And this has always been the case with frost traps. Everything about reviving has to be done manually. Like Zofia's revive doesn't work on frost traps. That is busted. Moving between mute jammers removes the detection. So this was actually kind of interesting to me, is if you had mute jammers say dotted around, you could move between them. And I was kind of interested because when you move with a line detection, even if you stop moving afterwards, you're still detected for the entire duration. I was kind of wondering what happened if you're detected first, then you go into a mute jammer, and what happens if you jump between them. And it's quite interesting because you actually, as Lion, get points for the scans every single time that person goes in and out of the mute jammer. You get these 5 points just popping up all the time. And if you're mute, you also get points for every time someone goes in and out of a mute jammer where they're getting scanned as well. So you can actually build up quite a lot of points. But yeah, anyway, running into a mute jammer will make you disappear. And of course, you can combine these kind of radiuses up together to actually make a decent sized kind of corridor of protection from Lion's Drone. So you can use mute very differently from how you used to use them, where it was all about reinforcing walls, where now you can use them to kind of really actually limit the ability for Lion to detect you. So that's kind of cool and confirmed. Lesion mines will remove the FINKA boost while taking the tick damage. So the scenario I had in my mind for this test was that, say it's the last few seconds of the round and you want to push into an objective, but you stand on a goo mine and you decide, screw it, I'm not going to pull it out, I don't have time, I'm just going to push in, I'm going to boost though to give myself some extra health and then continue in. Whereas actually that's not a good idea. The FINKA ability is, if you watch here, when I activate it, it doesn't even give me the overheal for any amount of time. It's gone. It just disappears. So yeah, like even that tick damage, of course it is the same poison, it's taking the effect off if you walk over with a boost. So that is confirmed, and I really just want to test that for my own little scenario there. So now we're going to move over to the Outbreak myths. So of course, Outbreak is difficult, like really difficult, and every little advantage you can get is definitely helping me to complete my pandemic challenges every week. And I'm going to try and complete them all if they don't get too difficult or too much of a time consuming. But here are the myths for Outbreak. You can melee stun grunts, then assassinate them. So this is a suggestion I read in one of the comments, and it is kind of useful if you have a gun with like a really long reload, is you can melee the grunt, stun them, and actually get behind them and do the assassination. So it is confirmed it can be useful, but if we move on to bigger mobs, we can actually assassinate routers, which is pretty cool because they usually pop up, and like if you spread out, you can usually get one of your teammates in a location where they're going to be and get behind them, and it means taking out a router very, very quickly. And these guys can be a pain in the ass and take a lot of damage. So that gets rid of them really, really fast. So that's confirmed and very useful. Now that made me think, right, can you actually do this on an Apex? Because an Apex is probably the most pain in the ass character to take down in Outbreak. So we cornered this one in a kind of corridor here, and we got on either side of it. And you can see Pyrites comes in here and gets right behind him, but doesn't manage to get off an attack. I tried the same as well, but there doesn't appear to be any kind of assassination animation for the Apex. If there was, that would be amazing, but unfortunately that is busted. Now another great tip that I read in the comments was that smoke will actually stop hostiles in Outbreak. So you can see here, put out the smoke in both of these corridors, and this is a very hard part in this mission, and the grunts just stop. They just stop in the smoke, so it's really good, and they just start meleeing the smoke. They can't do anything, and this can really save your bacon. Like you can put one of these smokes down on, say, a downed player, revive them, and then you're relatively safe for the entire time. So it's actually very, very powerful, and for someone like Ying who has an LMG with a quick reload and she can be equipped with smokes, it makes her a very good choice to bring along. And of course with her flashbangs as well, like she's going to be great for reviving people. So I think that's a great one, and that is totally confirmed. So this was a suggested myth on the previous Outbreak Mythbusters, and does the FINKA boost actually reduce the recoil of the turret? And no, actually, surprisingly, and this is, I was actually really surprised by this, it doesn't reduce recoil at all on the turret, which is kind of weird, I guess. But I guess it is a defender gadget and attacker ability, so it probably shouldn't work. But kind of surprised actually it doesn't work in Outbreak. But yeah, that's busted. So there you go guys, that is the latest myths for Rainbow Six Siege for both multiplayer and Outbreak. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. I will catch you next time. Here's a few funny outtakes from our adventure doing this Mythbusters. Oh, there's a chopper over there.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Wait, and it's not even moving. It's like frozen.
Yeah, it's like rotors aren't even moving.
Fucking game.
We know how Jaeger crashes
by
then.
Jaeger too, because he's shite. He's even got the engine on. Look, he's just floating there.
Just doing big breaths at the ground, trying to keep himself up.
Exactly. Like farts and breaths. He's a fucking dick Jaeger he is, like, and is in trouble. Is this the Jaeger mission? No, it's no.
Nah. This is a
Thank God.
doc mission.
I was in tears throughout Jungle Book, so I'll probably be the same for Lion King.
Oh, I'll be fucking crying like a bitch when I see Lion King. Honestly, God, when I see when it comes up, it starts up, right? And it goes, I'll be like, I'll be going like tears everywhere. Here's a soundbite for you, Ross. Yeah, that is a Twitch subscriber sound.
It's gonna be the name of the next YouTube video.
Mate, you should make that as your Twitch subscriber noise. Mate, I have like 25 people. You've got like nearly 40. I need to pick up my fucking weight, like.
Pick up your weight.
What do you say? What do you say? What's the saying?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out what the actual saying is.
What is it again? Pull my weight.
Pulling your weight, yeah.
Well, I was close to Neil. Fucking had you like you today. Alright, pick up my weight.